Another London derby has come and gone. Janusz Michallik here with me for this one. Janusz, it finished all even Stevens at Stamford Bridge between Chelsea and Spurs, 0-0. I mean, I even had time to curl my hair through that match. We got 15 minutes in, we had a shot on target. The next one came in the 80th minute. So not the most exciting, I suppose, in terms of shots, but still a nice calculated match. Who would be the happiest out of this?
Yeah, I think the neutrals would say that, right? Because you want goals, you want entertainment. But I thought it was fascinating, especially in the first half, where I thought that Spurs were maybe the smarter of the two teams. I'm not necessarily saying much better, but smarter in the way they play. Chelsea, of course, wanted it much more because they needed it, right? Let's think about it. I thought that the game was good between the both penalty areas, and I think the players that we count on providing the goals and entertainment maybe fail. I don't know if failing is the right word. You look at Tammy Abraham. I mean, he had three very good chances, right? Two identical chances, really, from each side. Reece James gave him a cross, and Joe Rodon played well. I think we'll talk about him a little bit more later on. And then on the other side, he got a cross and as well didn't time it perfectly. But Alexis, Jose Mourinho said before the game that they are contenders for the next match, right? Because he didn't want to be drawn into the fact that if they're contenders. For Chelsea, it's almost the same thing, but all I can tell you is that both of these teams are on the right path, and they're in a way contenders, aren't they? I mean, good balance on both sides of the ball, especially for Chelsea. Remember how they started early with all their problems defensively. They seem to have cleared that up a little bit. Jose Mourinho, I think he's recognized that he just didn't want to lose this game because a draw would have kept him on top, with Liverpool drawing to Brighton. And Chelsea perhaps wanted it more to send a psychological message, and also the fact that likely Leicester will beat Fulham and may bypass them as well. So no surprises here. Of course, teams canceled each other out a little bit, but I think Chelsea, there's a lot of good stuff happening there. They just have to integrate all these pieces, all these attacking players. Look at Hudson-Odoi. I mean, he scored in the last game against Rennes, not even on the bench. So there is that big competition for places, not just at Chelsea, but at Spurs. And you're starting to see these teams develop, Alexis.
With Spurs now, though, it seems like something is definitely going in the right direction there. How much do we read into it?
Well, we have to, right? Because, I mean, before the last weekend was exactly 1 year. I think, we've all talked about the fact that his team has been third best after Liverpool, Manchester City, if you consider the entire year that he's been there in terms of results. So it doesn't always look that way. It doesn't always look pretty because it won't, right? Of course, today, if you're a Spurs supporter or a neutral, you'd have to be disappointed a little bit with Son and Kane, right? Because Spurs barely had a strike on goal in the second half, not until very, very late. They didn't do much in the first game, right? So if you look at Spurs from the perspective of Mauricio Pochettino, you say to yourself, well, that was a team that was pressing. That was a team that was attacking in numbers. This one is different. You can also say that under Pochettino, of course, Spurs haven't won anything, even though they got to the final of the Champions League. And you can say, well, with the experience of Jose Mourinho, the way this team is set up now, maybe there's a possibility for Spurs to win a trophy. So it all depends on your perspective. But as a former player, I can tell you that in a match like this, from either side, I would have been very happy with a draw, because psychologically, it doesn't change anything. But I think whichever team lost today, there'd be enough people there going crazy and coming out with negative opinions, even though they're not necessary right now, because both teams are developing properly.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.